With the eye on China, US to boost military forces in Australia and invite Japan to join in. Military personnel on board the US Navy's amphibious assault ship USS Tripoli docked in Sydney on November 4th, 2022. The United States will increase the rotational presence of air, land, and sea forces in Australia, including bomber aircraft and fighter jet, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said Tuesday, amid shared concerns about China. Speaking after annual AUSMIN talks between the allies, Austin said the two countries also agreed to invite Japan to integrate into our forces posture initiative in Australia. Austin did not detail when there would be the increase in the rotations or how many troops, ships, and aircraft they would involve, and it was unclear how the announcement differed from the similar statement more than a year ago. The United States and Australia share a vision of the region where countries can determine their own futures, so he told the joint news conference with their Australian counterpart that, that included the nation's foreign ministers. Unfortunately, that vision is being challenged today. China's dangerous and coercive actions throughout the Indo-Pacific, including around Taiwan and toward the Pacific Island countries and in the East and South China Seas, threaten regional peace and stability, he said. Washington sees Canberra as the vital partner in its effort to push back against China in the Pacific, and analysts say Australia could have a crucial logistical role to play in the defense of Taiwan against any move by Beijing to reclaim the strategic self-administered island. Australia's Northern Territory is already host to frequent military collaborations with the US. Thousands of US Marines rotate through the territory annually for training and joint exercises started under former President Barack Obama. The US is planning to deploy up to six nuclear capable B 56 bombers to an air base in northern Australia, a source familiar with the matter said on October. Just before last year's AUSMIN talks, the US, United Kingdom, and Australia created the security deal known as the AUKUS that will provide Australia with the technology to deploy nuclear powered submarines. The two sides said they had further discussions on that issue, and Britain's Defense Minister Ben Wallace will attend the first in person meeting of AUKUS ministers on Wednesday in Washington. The meetings come at a critical time for the partners, which are due to decide in March whether the submarine will be Britain or American and set the roadmap for the Australian fleet. Australia's Defense Minister Richard Marles said Tuesday's agreement would see an increased level of activity between our two countries across all domains, and they were also looking at increased force posture cooperation to enhance the capacity of facilities in Australia. It's really important that we are doing this from the point of view of providing balance within our region and involving other countries within our region, he said. Wallace said he and Foreign Minister Penny Wong would hold similar 2.2 plus 2 talks with Japan in Tokyo later in the week, with the invitation for Japan to be participating in more exercises with Australia and the United States. He also said the US and Australia had taken steps on Tuesday to create a more seamless defense industrial base, and that they needed to work together more closely to enhance our military capability and to develop the new technologies. The White House coordinator for the region, Colt Campbell, said earlier this year that moving forward, everything we do of consequences in the Pacific, we will do with Australia. China is Australia's largest trading partner and the top market for exported air. But Canberra has grown increasingly concerned about Beijing's military ambitions in the Indo-Pacific region, particularly after it struck a security pact with Australia's neighboring Solomon Islands this year. A meeting between Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and the Chinese leader Xi Jinping last month at the G20 was the step towards normalizing ties. But Australian diplomats said it would not bring a shift in Canberra's defense policy.